So let me take you guys back to the beginning just shortly before, how does it go to the next slide? Okay, here we go. So I got really interested in conservation about 10 years ago, working as a crime investigator. Really got fed up with criminal investigations ending up in, well, very poor punishment. So I really wanted to go out there and be in the field. And actually I went to Antarctica to go after illegal whaling vessels in the Japanese whaling vessels. But as you can see here, this is the kind of the old-fashioned way of how we harassed the Japanese whaling vessels. So the year after, we figured, okay, let's look at technology, because there's so much stuff going on that there must be a way to improve this. And we decided to join this vessel. It was called the Adigil. And we were, yeah, so much faster to actually find the harpoon vessels and being able to stop and end whaling in the Antarctic. However, it ended quite badly because they were not too happy about our progress we were making in the Antarctic. And when one of the harpoon vessels had the opportunity, it rammed our vessel and it sunk in the Antarctic. And after 3 ocean campaigns and my ship being sunk, I thought, well, let's move on and see if we can do some other conservation stuff. But I was really intrigued with the technology improvements that I was seeing around the globe. So we decided, we picked up with the drone technology as well. Our first campaign we did was in Namibia to see whether we could film the illegal clubbing of seals over there, over 90,000 seals being clubbed, and we tried to get some imagery. It didn't work too well, very hard winds, and we're talking early days drones, but we thought, okay, this technology could really make a difference for conservation. So we started to design our own drones. This is the Eco Ranger you see here, and we took it to Greater Kruger, and that's where we were able to find 2 poachers with thermal imagery. Now I have to say that was just pure luck, but it did set us off in the right direction. And we started to do more campaigns. We went to the States, we went to Borneo, and still using drones. But the longer we used it, we realized that, okay, drones are a super nice tool. And I think there could still be a massive asset, like I just saw in the presentation from Eric, maybe like with the snare detection. That sounds really amazing. I'd love to know more about that. But we also know that, you know, maintenance is horrible. The terrain where you're working is horrible flying, especially fixed wing drones. They're expensive to run. So we thought, okay, this is not going to be a sustainable solution for wildlife conservation. So we went back to the drawing board, and I came across Tim and Jeroen, which are my other co-founders of SmartParks, and they were looking at putting a sensor in the horn of an eastern black rhino, because it's really hard to color them. It's been done with VHF before, but it's still hard to find them in the field. So we were wondering, okay, can we use a LoRa sensor to put it in the horn of the rhino? And I thought, okay, hang on. So if we can use in the horn, we can use this sensor technology for all different, like see where vehicles are, see where ranges are, look at the electric poles and fences. I think the applications are endless, but still it was early days. So we need to make it work, proof of concept. So we started in Mkomazi, Tanzania. And let's see this picture here, there's Tim. So we started in Mkomazi, Tanzania, and while the vet takes care of the rhino, we had the opportunity to put the sensor in, and we used geologs, so triangulation, to locate the rhino. And I can say for the one in Tanzania, we have it up and running for over a year now, and getting a location update every 7 minutes, which I think is just awesome, and really hope to do that in with a lot more animals. So we wanted to expand. We joined the Human Wildlife Tech Challenge, and yes, we won it, which was awesome. And giving us the opportunity to actually go to India and Tezpur in Assam to use the sensors with Energizer to measure the battery voltage and the high. So we can hopefully see it in the near future. It's in the development phase. There's still some troubles we need to figure out. So yes, I'll be looking at the community to contact us after this presentation and help us out with that. But we'll get there. The first tests were really positive. And it's in order to help the villages avoid elephants coming into the area and breaking the fence before they actually get to the fields of the farmers and stuff like that. And we're working with another partner who's developed the thermal setup to detect the elephants even quicker. So basic summary of how we work in the 5 steps. I think what's really important, if we get approached by an area, we say, okay, we can make a feasibility study. If the budget is there, we really need to go over there and see the lay of the land. So we can figure out, okay, where do we need to place the gateways? How's the backbone look? Because we pretty much use LoRa and then the Wi-Fi backbone directional. So we build the networks ourselves. And once that's built, we implement the sensors where the park wants them to be implemented. And all that data goes back to a control room where park management uses to direct the patrols, etc., and see how they can use this. And I think that's a big difference, is that we've made an application to run on premise, because a lot of the times the internet connection is very poorly in these areas, and a cloud solution is not the greatest of help to these parks. And that's why we really wanted to provide real-time data and run the whole application on premise. Well, I think most of you guys will see this as familiar, the applications where you can use it for. So I'll go over this. Yeah, and what's interesting, so we started off in Africa and now moved on to India, but also the government in the Netherlands has approached us to look and help monitoring one of their wildlife reserves, and hopefully we'll be expanding to more areas. So it's really interesting to see that a technology we first implemented in Africa is now even being used in the Netherlands, which I think is awesome. And one of my dreams is we've been asked to set up a SmartParks in Bazarudo in Mozambique, where we want to monitor the baby turtles and the dugongs, and that would bring us back to an ocean project, which is very keen to my heart. And yeah, if anyone wants to help out with that, I would be very keen to hear more about it. But the most important one for us, I think, in the near future is expanding our work with African parks, because there's 2 reasons. Well, we all know how urgent the biodiversity crisis is, but also, yeah, African Parks is a very solid organization in Africa, which has the right infrastructure to be able to implement this, because we need like gates, a good layer of security, the ranges. So there's different elements that we definitely need in a park before we can actually change it or complement it with smart park technology. I think that's very important. If somebody just has a reserve without the extra layers, then building a smart park is not going to make much of a difference. So we set it all up. We started off, that might be interesting. We started off as a not-for-profit, well, with a charitable status, but we really try and moving into a social enterprise, because there are certain entities that can actually pay and cover our operational costs. And then on the back end, we have the charitable status as well to help out smaller parks that can't really afford it. So our aim is not just to get grants and be another non-profit, but we really want to try and build a sustainable business to move this forward, and yeah, and create as many smart parks as we can.